in 1960, when Domino's Pizza first opened, its total sales for the entire day were only $14. But who could have imagined that a young boy who had no support from his father and no love from his mother would one day become the owner of more than 1-800 Zero Pizza Outlet? This is the remarkable story of Thomas Monahan, the founder of Domino's Pizza, who rose from the harshest of circumstances to create a billion-dollar empire. His journey was filled with unimaginable hardships, from facing financial ruin and fraud to dealing with betrayal and legal battles. But against all odds, Monahan's dream didn't just survive, it flourished. Welcome again to Global Facts Videos. Thomas Monahan was born on March 25, 1937, in Michigan, into a middle-class family. His father worked as a truck driver, struggling to make ends meet, while his mother worked in a nursing school. When Tom was just 4 years old, tragedy struck. His father passed away, and his mother, unable to care for her children, sent Tom and his brother Jim to live in a government-run orphanage for the next 7 years. Tom's childhood was filled with loneliness, pain, and a constant sense of abandonment. He never had the support of a father figure, and his mother's cold indifference left him with a deep yearning for love. Even though he was bright, Tom struggled academically and barely managed to finish high school. College was out of the question due to the financial difficulties his family faced. But life had a way of pushing Tom forward. Despite the hardships, he started delivering newspapers door to door to make ends meet. This was his first taste of business, and it sparked a fire within him. He learned to save every penny, constantly looking for ways to be more efficient. In 1959, after some of his savings were stolen in a fraud, Tom's brother Jim came to him with an idea that would change their lives forever. Jim had a part-time job at a restaurant owned by Dominic DeVarty, who was looking to sell the business. The restaurant was up for sale for $500, but it had a debt of $2,000 attached to it. Jim proposed that they buy the place and run it together. The brothers decided to take a $900 loan from the post office and buy the restaurant. They kept the original name, Dominic's, and used the recipes that Dominic had shared with them. They opened the restaurant from 5 p.m. to midnight, so Jim could continue working at the post office and Tom could still attend college. But on their first day, they only made $14 in sales. So what you know, in the first week, they didn't even have a phone, and customers had to visit the restaurant in person to place orders. Realizing that the restaurant needed a new approach, they introduced a delivery service and hired 2 factory workers on commission. Slowly but surely, sales began to climb. By the 3rd month, their daily sales had reached $7, but they were mainly from the nearby college students. However, when the semester ended, sales dropped to $28, and Tom and Jim found themselves struggling again. This time, however, their struggles were compounded by personal tensions. Since Jim was so busy with his post office job, he wasn't able to devote much time to the restaurant. This led to frequent arguments, escalating to physical fights. After 6 months, Jim decided to leave the business. In exchange for 50% ownership, Tom gave Jim a Volkswagen car, which he had bought for pizza delivery. It seemed like a fair deal at the time, but little did Jim know, he was walking away from the opportunity of a lifetime. With Jim out of the picture, Tom was now the sole owner of the business, but it came at a great cost. He had to give up his dreams of attending college and dedicate himself full-time to the restaurant. For days on end, he lived in the restaurant, eating burnt pizzas and struggling to keep the business afloat. Yet despite all of this, Tom's hard work began to pay off. He hired 2 new employees, and daily sales started to rise again. So, postpone, pardon me. During this time, Tom also started conducting market research, visiting other pizza stores and learning from their successes and failures. One day, he met the owner of an Italian restaurant who shared with him a secret recipe for a sauce that would become the key to Domino's success. When Tom applied this sauce to his pizzas, customers loved it, and sales began to increase once again. As Tom's business began to grow, someone suggested he open a second branch, but for that to happen, Tom needed a partner who could manage the original store. This is where Tom's next mistake occurred. He partnered with a man named Jim Gilmore, a well-known local restaurant owner. Gilmore promised to contribute $500 for a share in the business, but he never followed through. Desperate for help, Tom agreed to let him join the business without any upfront payment. Unfortunately, this decision would prove disastrous. After the second branch was opened, Gilmore took over the original store. Sales began to plummet, and Tom suspected Gilmore of embezzling money from the register. Gilmore's past came back to haunt him. He had previously filed for bankruptcy twice due to a drinking problem. Tom tried to dissolve the partnership several times, but legal issues kept him tied to Gilmore. Eventually, they went to court and the partnership was officially dissolved, but the damage was done. To make matters worse, Tom discovered that the name Dominick's was legally owned by Dominic DeVarty, the original restaurant owner. When DeVarty found out that Tom was using his name, he demanded that Tom stop. Tom was devastated. He had worked so hard to establish the Dominick's brand, and now he would have to change it. But a small ray of hope appeared. One of Tom's delivery drivers suggested the name Domino's. Tom loved the idea, and just like that, the restaurant was rebranded. They also decided to use the tile design from the game Domino as their logo, with 3 dots representing the 3 stores they had at the time. From that moment on, everything began to fall into place for Tom. He focused on improving his pizzas and expanding the business, but it was one specific event that truly set Domino's on a path to greatness. One day, a large portion of the staff took the day off, and Tom decided to streamline the menu, offering only pizzas. That day, Domino's made more money than it ever had before. Tom realized that by focusing on a smaller, simpler menu, the business could increase efficiency and profits. He also realized that offering dine-in services created unnecessary costs, so he decided to focus solely on delivery. To keep the pizzas hot, he introduced the now famous cardboard pizza boxes. Tom also pioneered the use of delivery pouches, further improving the delivery service. These innovations gave Domino's a competitive edge, and by 1967, the company had started to grow rapidly. At 1971, in 1967, Domino's began franchising. Tom strategically opened new stores near colleges and military bases, where the demand for pizza was high. Instead of spending large amounts on mainstream advertisements, Tom placed ads in college newspapers, which were both cheap and effective. Within just 2 years, Domino's had opened 32 franchises. By the end of 1969, there were 42 stores across Michigan, Vermont, and Ohio. By 1978, over 200 outlets had been established nationwide. Despite the success, Domino's still faced fierce competition, especially from Pizza Hut, which also began focusing on delivery. To maintain its edge, Domino's launched a campaign offering free pizzas if deliveries didn't arrive within 30 minutes. The campaign created a massive surge in sales, but it also led to tragic consequences. In 1989, a delivery driver died in a car accident while speeding to fulfill an order. Over the next few years, several lawsuits piled up against Domino's, leading to the eventual cancellation of the 30-minute delivery guarantee. But even with these setbacks, Tom continued pushing forward. In 1998, after years of challenges and controversies, he sold Domino's for a staggering $1.1 billion. However, the story didn't end there. In 2009, a viral video showing 2 Domino's workers handling food in unsanitary conditions caused a public outcry. Despite this scandal, Domino's continued to thrive as a global brand, and Tom's legacy lives on as one of the most remarkable stories of entrepreneurial success. Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel and press the bell icon.